Welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host. Now, Frazier, I'm talking into the wrong joint. All right, my fault, y'all. Welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've been on here. My fault. I can't even hear myself. But I know it's been a little bit since I've been on here, and just wanted to hop on, give some updates, talk about some things pertaining to the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know if anybody's going to hop in here because I should have probably planned this, but spare the moment type thing. Excuse me. But like I said, I just wanted to talk about some stuff pertaining to the Philadelphia Eagles with the new offensive play caller, the A.J. Brown rumors. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni are both at the NFL Combine. Both had interviews with different shows or podcasts and things like that. Probably gonna key in more on Howie Roseman with that. But Nick Sirianni, per usual, you gotta love Nick, but sometimes he just sticks his foot in his mouth. Sometimes I feel like, and kind of gave us a little bit more about where he's at in his position as a head coach, especially with Sean Mannion coming in here. And I hope I'm saying Sean's name right or his last name right. With him coming in here, I do think that and I think I said this before on the podcast that Nick Sirianni understands that his job is on the line at the end of the day, and what's this going on year 6? I want to say with Nick Sirianni, kind of got the proof in the pudding with how if he doesn't have an experienced play caller, what the offense looks like, usually a first round exit, as you've seen this past year. The previous year, not previous year, but the previous time would be with Brian Johnson, which the offense wasn't that bad. It was pretty much the defense, but still, that falls on the head coach at the end of the day. I do think Nick Sirianni has good attributes about him, but I think the biggest thing, and I've said this before, is the offensive play calling. Because if Sean Mannion works out, this offense works out, of course, they've given him the keys to the car, whatever y'all want to call it. But if this offense works out right, how do you move on to the next year with a different coach that's going to bring in maybe a similar style of offense or scheme? You know what I mean? And try to keep keying in on these guys. Now, don't get me wrong. I can appreciate, that if Sean does a good job and he does lead the organization, he gets a head coaching job. By all means, we ain't that far yet in the game, though. I'm just talking about right now. With Nick Sirianni, because as much as we love Nick and we talk about, going to the playoffs every year, two Super Bowl appearances, 2 NFC championship wins, which is a crazy resume to have as a coach. But I do think he just falls short in that department where we want to know about the X's and O's with the game. At least for me, like I said, overall, I do like Nick Sirianni. I love the rah-rah he has with the fans and things like that. But overall, I do want to see some type of sustainability when it comes to this offense. Like I feel like a coach that, and I'm not saying you can't be adaptive, but I feel like when Nick Sirianni was giving his interview, right, he was talking about, I guess he had talked to a couple of different coaches in the league, and they gave their opinion on the Sean Mannion or the Sean McVay, whatever y'all want to call it, the Kyle Shanahan offense, West Coast offense. And he said, after he did, some digging into it, he kind of wanted to lean toward that. Now, I don't know if that's the truth or not, but I feel like this is not what Nick wanted to do. I feel like this was an organizational thing. At the end of the day, this offense from the last couple of years, even the Super Bowl season, was so predictable. And I felt like they leaned on that because they have all these great players. And it's like, y'all trying to play checkers while everybody else is playing chess, and you can't do that. You have to. A.J. Brown alluded to this, and he spoke to this, but you have to keep updating your offense, man. You can't just think each year you can go out here and keep doing the same old things, and you're gonna keep getting the same results. Sooner or later, somebody's going to catch on to that, as they did, and then the offense looks piss poor. Now you got to go out here and get a whole different offense, which I kind of do like this offense, this style of offense. Now, I don't know how it's going to play out just yet, but I do like this style of offense. But now you got to go out here and get a whole new different offense, something that He never has run before, if I'm not mistaken. And he talked about it a little bit too, like trying to blend. And I'm not trying to hear none of that. I just want to see Sean do his thing, go out there with his guys, go out there with the coaches that he's brought in and implement this offense. I don't want to hear about Nick Sirianni coming, week 3, week 4. Oh, let's do this, let's do that. No, because to me that just seems like, all right, you're kind of scared that you're going to lose your job. You know what I mean? You want to put your fingerprints on it some which way or another. So overall, though, I think he might just be on the hot seat, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, I like Nick Sirianni, but he said it himself. He said he wanted to be more of a CEO coach, and which is fine and all, but I just don't think that's going to work in the long run. I'm not going to lie to you. I know people say like, look at Mike Tomlin or somebody like the guy from the New York Giants. I can't remember my man's name. The coach that they just got from the Ravens. But look how they work. Look at who else? Call please. It's like a couple of other coaches. But me per se, I like somebody that can come in here, and even if he can't call the play, just had the knowledge to be able to adjust the offense how they see it. If you see that they're doing something to us on defense where it's hindering us and we need to be able to adjust to the game, we should be able to do that. And that should be coming from the offensive coordinator and the head coach. Because I'm not trying to be rude, but like I said, I don't know outside of Nick being on the sideline on Sundays, and I'm not saying he ain't involved in any other way, but what else is Nick Sirianni contributing to the game? You know what I mean? I'm just listening to some of the stuff that he was saying in that interview. He's just like, Rich Eisen is asking him about, I know you don't got time during the season to watch, the upcoming players in the draft and college, which he doesn't, you know what I mean? But just how he answers the questions, he's like, "Oh well, I am, man." It's just so weird to me. But that's who Nick Sirianni is, man. Like I said, I do think he's on a hot seat. Because I don't know how they move on from this, man. I don't know how they transition going in from 26 to 27 if this works. And you got to go out here and go find a whole new coaching staff. Like that's going to get crazy year in and year out. So, like I said, like Nick, but future might be a little bit in jeopardy, man, because if this don't work, then you're going to blame the head coach, man. So, shout out to Nick, but keep your head on the swivel, big dogs. I'm telling you, they are watching. What else I got here? But yeah, man. So let's talk. All right. Let's talk about the AJ Brown trade situation, right? Now, oh wait, the camera died. Hold up. What's up? Camera died. Oh, okay. My fault, y'all. Camera died. But let's talk about the AJ Brown situation, right? Is this good? Let me see. All right. It's not. It's gonna look a little fuzzy. But anyway, AJ Brown trade situation, right? Now, Howie Roseman, like I said, he had a couple of interviews at the NFL Combine. They are there, assessing talent, whatever the case may be. But I want to say it was Rich Eisen, or I can't think of the other show with what's buddy that's always hating on Jalen Hurts, the commentator. Couldn't be a good quarterback himself, but always talking about Jalen Hurts. But it was his co-host or whatever the case may be, right? He had asked him about the AJ Brown situation, to the GM, the best person you possibly can ask. And Howie Roseman has consistently said the same thing over and over. That's why I really never really harped on it, because it's like, what are we? If the GM is saying he's not trying to trade AJ Brown, why am I going to sit here and listen to somebody from WIP or the Diana, however you say, Rossini, or whatever the case may be? Why would I listen to that? The man is frustrated. I understand, because when you sat here and you watched this offense, me as a fan, I'm just like, bro, this is terrible. We got plenty of great players on this team. Why can't we figure out how to score? And it's like people forget that these guys are human. Like, if I'm not getting the ball and I'm not being able to affect the game the way that I want to, I'm going to be upset. And I ain't going to say go to the sideline and read a book, but my thing is this. I'm going to be upset. But my thing is this. The fact that he can read a book on the sideline means you're not using me even when y'all need to be using. So, like I said, when he came out and he pretty much deaded the situation. I'm talking about Howie Roseman. when it comes to the trades and stuff like that coming to AJ Brown. Now, he did say, he's listening to everything, whatever the case may be, because at the end of the day, that's a GM's job. They're supposed to be listening to, other offers, because you never know what might come up. Not to say that they're going to trade AJ Brown, but my thing is this: say a player is available that Howie Roseman had no, you know what I'm saying, that he didn't think was available, right? They thinking they might get, it seems like Howie wants that person. Maybe we can get AJ Brown. Nah, we're going to send y'all Keely Ringo, you know what I'm saying, a 3rd round pick for whatever the case may be, wherever the player is, because he has to assess the market. People got to go out here and get paid, man. He can't just be, all willy-nilly. That's why he wanted the best in the game. But when it comes to the trade rumors and if he's going to be here next year, the man's still under contract. It's a crazy cap hit if we trade the man. And don't get me wrong, I still probably wouldn't do that, because I just feel like, and this is what Howie said, why are we subtracting great players from a team? We're trying to build around this, not subtract from it. So until I get another indication or some indication out of the horse's mouth of AJ Brown or Howie Roseman that this man does not want to be in the city of Philadelphia, I'm not going to sit here and speculate about trade rumors or we're going to trade him for Max Crosby or Myles Garrett. I'm not going to do that, man. I'm not. Even AJ said it, like he be trolling. He just be saying stuff like, and people be like, oh, on IG, he talking about, oh, we about to bring AJ to the Patriots. No, y'all not. You think AJ, no disrespect to Drake May, but you think he want to go there and play with Drake May? After what we just saw in the Super Bowl, bro, ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. As long as he's the quarterback, I don't see that happening. So no disrespect to Drake May, but again, I watched the Super Bowl. I don't think AJ Brown is going to be able to affect that offense in a way where, they're going to another Super Bowl. No disrespect. I just don't see that. So, but yeah, man. So with the AJ Brown situation, really not going to harp on that no more, because there's really nothing to harp on, man. Great player. He is aging a tad bit, but like I've been saying, man, I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL if he's used properly. I think with this new offense that you're bringing in here with Sean Mannion, it gives everybody. I feel like this offense gives everybody an opportunity to eat. In the same way where when we had Shane Steichen when we running the RPO offense, right? Because you're giving yourself time, right, offensively, while the defense has to figure out what you're doing. I feel like also implementing this offense, this West Coast style offense, Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, however y'all want to chop it up. But I feel like it's a lot of motion, okay, which is going to keep the defense guessing. This is something that we have not been using. If we do, it's running Smitty in motion just to see if we're in man or zone, okay? That's as far as it ever has went with us. So I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm not going to sit there and say they were listening to us or whatever the case may be, but they have data and all that where they can see that this offense was getting pretty stagnant to the point where, like, even like kick returns, like we couldn't even get even good field range, like to even get the offense clucking. So I think with this offense now that everybody can eat, I feel like AJ Brown's going to be a lot more happy if you can go back to, and I know, Green Bay Packers, what's the coach's name? I can't think of his name right now. Matt LaFleur. I know he's probably calling the plays, but, Sean Mannion in the background and things like that has some type of effect to that as well. And I see how, they were able to get all their wide receivers. I'm not saying like they're no names, but like you were getting people that you really don't hear about the ball open. So this was a problem that I've been feeling that the Eagles been having for like the last few years, because you'll go out here and go get Jahan Dotson. Now, Jahan Dotson showed up in the Super Bowl last year, but like they rarely use him. I feel like if you can use all the players on your field, you're giving your offense even a better chance of scoring, because with the offense that we were running now, we know that you're trying to get that hitch route, because y'all were spamming the hitch route. But then you're trying to get the ball to either AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, which, I mean, of course that's the case. But my thing is you gotta make them guess. You feel what I'm saying? Then you gotta be able to sequence plays in a way Where in his first half, like, okay, yeah, they think they about to do this. In the second half, nah, we're not about to do that. It's a little tendency off the play that we just ran in the first half. So all that being encompassed into one, I feel like, and then also Sean Mannion. And then I think this is another point that people are missing. I got into a little, I don't want to say it's an argument, because I don't even be knowing these people in these comments, but I got into a little debate with somebody on these comments about Sean Mannion. And I'm like, they keep saying the man don't have coaching experience. And I'm like, y'all gotta pause right quick. The man played 9 years in the NFL as a quarterback. Now, mind you, he might not have started all those years, whatever the case may be, or a backup, but the man was able to be in the NFL for 9 years for a specific reason. Talent, not talent alone, but clearly what was upstairs in his head. And then was able to do, like I talked about this before, what Kellen Moore was able to do and work his way up the coaching ranks pretty quickly. So I think that NFL experience with the coaching is going to make him even better, because it's like, well, what would he want to see? Well, I guess you got to put he honestly got to put his feet in Jalen Hurts' shoes, because I ain't really see Sean Mannion play all like that back in the day, which is not that long ago, because I think he ended up stopping. I think he stopped playing in 23 or 22, one of those 2 years. But you got to put yourself in Jalen Hurts' shoes, what he's seen, what he likes. Also, though, you got to push Jalen Hurts too, because I know a lot of people talk about him not throwing over the middle and things like that, which I feel like that was an offensive scheme thing with Nick Sirianni, because we've seen him do it before. I do feel like now with this offense, it's going to be a lot more over the middle, man. And people are like, I don't think Jalen Hurts can do that. And I'm like, what do y'all be watching, man? Like, I know it's not all the time, but people make it seem like Jalen Hurts is just like the trashiest quarterback in the world. I'm like, bro, y'all gotta cool out on my man, yo. Super Bowl MVP, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 NFC championships, running in a Heisman back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So, not to brag on my man, look, Jordan Brand athlete. I know y'all seen him sneaks too that he about to drop. So you see his jersey back there. Kelly, bring my phone. Oh, wait. There you go, right there, my phone. Shout out to Jalen Hurts, man. Shout out to Hurts. Love Hurts. But I do think Hurts can be able to implement this offense, though, and get all these players. I don't know what they're going to do with wide receiver 3. We can talk about that, too, while I'm on here. But be able to get all these players the football, man, and get them open. Because the biggest thing with me is I want to start seeing some yards after the catch. I want to see some anticipatory throws. That was a lot to say right there, pause. But yeah, man, I just want to see a more modern NFL offense, man. And I think that's what we're going to get with Sean Mannion. I know he was coached under Sean McVay, Clint Kubiak, I want to say. Sean Payton too is another one. So some great coaches that he has had in his time of play. So hopefully he can take whatever he's learned from those guys and implement that into this new offense that he's trying to get to the Philadelphia Eagles, or give to the Philadelphia Eagles. Also running back too, man. I want to see how they do that, because no disrespect. This is no disrespect to my man. What's his name? Number 8 for Green Bay Packers. But I do think Saquon Barkley is a better running back to him. And then with Tank Bigsby as well, I feel like he could be used in a different way as well in this offense. So hopefully they get that 2 running back tandem going with this offense. You go out here, and we were sitting here complaining last year about, and I know the offensive line was messed up and things like that, injured, whatever the case may be, but you go out here and you go get Tank for, what was it, a 3rd round pick, and then hardly were using him until later on in the season. So I'd like to see him get more involved, because I do think he can affect this offense in a major way, especially with him. I see another person yards after the catch, or just yards after a run. Excuse me. So. So I just want to see, like I said, I just want to see a more modern offense, man. I just want to see all the players being utilized. I feel like that was a big thing with Kevin Patullo not utilizing the players to their full effectiveness. And you just didn't get to, and I understand him being a first-year coach, but I just felt like that was just a bad move, man. I said this before. He was the pass game coordinator, and we were already complaining about the routes in the pass game. So then you made him the offensive coordinator, and you see where that got us. So first-round exit. And he's no longer with the team as well. I think he got a job with the Dolphins, if I'm not mistaken. So I know that's a little bit old news, but it is what it is. Wish him nothing but the best. But after his situation here, he couldn't come back into that locker room. So, and that's why I was sitting there talking about earlier about Nick Sirianni, because you next. Like, no disrespect. It's all love. You won us a Super Bowl, but look at Doug Peterson, man. Won us a Super Bowl. He didn't want to come off of Press Taylor, and what did they do? They asked everybody. So if he thinks he's untouchable, I guarantee you he's not. And that's why he made the remark that he did, even though he was talking about AJ, asking him about AJ Brown. He made a remark about himself because it is true. And he said there were rumors about him being fired in that Super Bowl season. So, and then a time before. So, you got to think, man, the coaching rotation this past year was like 8, 9 plus coaches for head coaching jobs. So it's nothing to get fired, but you got to make sure that you have a backup plan. That's why I was going to say with Sean Mannion, this offense does work. That's what we're going to be, talking about. So, but yeah, man. But moving on, I want to make sure I ain't missed nothing. I also wanted to talk about, because as y'all know, we got the NFL Combine coming up. First and foremost, shout out to Rasul Stinson, man. He was playing for the Gamecocks, South Carolina, running back. I think before that he was at Utah State, if I'm not mistaken, but he's from my area, man. Shout out to him. He will be participating in the NFL Combine. He's a running back. So shout out to you, my boy. Crazy. That's crazy, man, just to be thinking about. But shout out to him, man. But I wanted to talk about the NFL Combine. We got the upcoming draft, our needs and things like that. Free agency too as well. And some of this is going to dictate what happens with players on the team. Like I said, I don't think AJ Brown's going nowhere from what Howie Roseman said, but if something does happen, then you're looking at getting a wide receiver, because I don't think Jahan Dotson is going to be able to stay here or be able to get paid, and whatever the case may be, on a bigger role as a wide receiver and things like that. So then you would be trying to fill 2 holes at the wide receiver. But the biggest thing that I do want to concentrate on in this upcoming draft is getting right back to what we used to do, the trenches. The offensive line was rattled with different injuries throughout the year. I did go to the Tampa Bay game in week 4. When I seen Landon Dickerson coming off that field, I knew right then and there, I said, this season is not going to go the way that we want it to. I also think some of that, now I'm thinking in hindsight, that's probably where some of the second half woes kind of came in, because first half, you probably juiced the hell up. You know what I'm saying? You got Perkies and Lidocaine and whatever else they give you in the NFL, but you juiced up. First half, they was looking good. Second half, they come out, and I'm talking about Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens. They both look terrible. And then throughout the season, as you watch the game, if you look at it, they just didn't look, in the tip-top shape. And then you had Landon Dickerson considering retirement at his age. Cam Jurgens is getting stem cell treatment for his back or for his legs, something along the lines of that. So I think offensive line is a big, huge. Well, let's think about it like this. Let's walk through this, right? Offensive line, okay. In the wing, we still got some guys. We got Hinton still. He was injured. You still got Willie Lampkin at center. And I'm going off the top of my dome. I don't have the chart pulled up. You got who else? Toth, who I don't know if it's even going to be on the team next year, but I was a big proponent of having Toth play for Cam Jurgens because I didn't feel like Cam was all the way healthy. Like I said, I felt like that was affecting the offensive line and the play. But you got Toth. And who else? Is there anybody else I'm thinking about? I know Tyler Steen back there, and I know Howie Roseman did confirm that Tyler Steen probably will be starting, which is fine with me. But if he don't look good, man, you know what I'm saying, we might have to throw somebody else up in there. But I just think he needs reps, especially now they're all learning a new offense. They got a new offensive line coach too as well. So I do think, and this is something that I didn't hear nobody talk about. Like, if Cam Jurgens is not ready and Willie Lampkin's ready, do we run Willie Lampkin? Because you got to think, Willie Lampkin, even though he was only there for a couple of games, he was learning the Sean McVay offense. So I don't know if, and I'm not sitting there saying that they had this thought in their mind last year that they wanted to bring in a new offense, but Willie Lampkin was in that offense. He was doing pretty well for the couple of games he did play. So I don't know if they try to implement him into the center position, whatever the case may be. You kind of want to keep that consistent though. So it's just Cam Jurgens is going to be Cam Jurgens. But overall, I do think the offensive line is the biggest need. You also got Lane aging. I mean, I know he's coming back for another season, but you can't play forever. But you do have Trent Williams, which I'm not saying we're going to pay, go out here and go get him. But Trent Williams is out there, which is crazy to me because him and the 49ers can't come to an agreement. At least last time I checked, they couldn't come to an agreement. So he's another elite besides Lane Johnson tackle. So that's crazy to me. But I do think this season they do have to go. Might have to offensive line. I don't know where they want to go at, but a lot of players on that offensive line. I'm not trying to make it seem like they're going to get rid of these guys. But my thing is this: if this season comes up, right, Cam Jurgens can't play the way that he needs to. What do we do? Because we paid these guys already. You might have to put Willie Lampkin in there. That's probably going to be your next best bet. You feel what I'm saying? So, or if another player, which I don't know if can play a swing tackle or something like that, which is fine with me too, we can do that. But the offensive line is the biggest thing I do feel like coming up in this draft. Like I said, we just need depth at that offensive line. The defensive line and the edge position is a big key. Now, we talked about Jalen Phillips a little bit before my last video, but as y'all know, we ended up getting him this past season. I think he ended up recording like 2.5 sacks, but he had a lot of rushes and hurries on the quarterback, which I like because that means you're getting pressure on the quarterback, getting him out that pocket. That means flush him out the pocket. That means he's eligible to get tackled, man. So, or mess up the play. But my thing is this: I don't know exactly what he's commanding, but I think it was somewhere around, what was it, 3 years? It was like 20 mil. It was like 20 mil a year or something like that. It was something like that for the edge rusher, because the edge is that's a crazy position. If you play that, you can get paid. But I do think that this is something where they need to go in the draft and try to salt that side up, because at the end of the day, you got to try to save money any which way you can. Now, coming up on that defensive side, a lot of players got to get paid. You got Jalen Carter, you got Jordan Davis, of course, Jalen Phillips. And then you got to think about Cooper DeJean, Quinyon in the win, Jalix Hunt, another player coming up. So a lot of players that got to get paid on that defensive side, man. And you want to make sure that you're still drafting very well. So I do feel like an edge would be, needed in this draft, because if you want to try to save some money on that side, that'll probably be the best way to do it. Like Ruben Bain. I know there's other players and stuff like that out there, but I know Ruben Bain pops off the top of my head. Somebody else too I was thinking about, but I'm gonna do a separate video on that. As y'all know, I always do the draft, what I feel like the players that we're going to get, things like that, who I key in on, for the number one pick. So this is going on year 3, year 4. Damn, that's been a minute. Damn. So year 3, year 4, the podcast. But yeah, man, just trying to see, who they key in on as a number 1 pick, and go from there. So just be on the lookout for that video. And if you like what you're hearing, please like, comment, and subscribe, man. You can sit here talking to me, you can talk to me. So, but yeah, man. But how was I at? My fault. Oh yeah, my fault. Defensive line as well. I know we also got players there too. I know, what's my man name from Baylor? I don't know if he's gonna make an impact or not. But I did like him when he came out of Baylor. I can't think of my man's name right now. I can't even think of his name. Damn. Don't matter. But defensive line, another area that we got to concentrate on when it comes to this draft. Especially, like I said, a lot of players got to get paid. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. I'm hoping they bring both of those guys back. But if they don't, you got to go out here. You got to go draft somebody. Even some of the other guys, Moro Jamo, or Jamo. I think I'm saying his name, Ojamo, Moro. So another player that got to get paid, who had a hell of a year. Hell of a year this past year. I don't know if he's eligible this year, but it might be next year, I want to say, for Moro Jamo. But yeah, man, this is what Howie is good at. This is one of the hardest parts of the season, though, because you get attached to some of these players over the couple of years that they're here, and then they get shipped off, like Milton Williams, and they go have an impact on a different team. You're like, damn, I wish I could have kept them here. So, but shout out to those guys, man. They got to get paid. Like I said, if you like what you're hearing, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you got anything you want to talk about, you want me to talk about, we can talk about amongst ourselves. Let's get to it. But yeah, back to what I was saying. What you call it, the defensive line is another key, uh, along with the edges. And then we got linebacker that I'm thinking about because with the rumors going around, they're talking about Nakobe Dean possibly not being here next year. Now, I don't want to say linebacker is a weak position because I feel like Jeremiah Trotter is Nakobe Dean, just a little bit bigger and not as experienced, if that makes sense. But he's pretty good at diagnosing plays. I know he was doing that at Clemson. And then as he got to the NFL, he was doing that a little bit more. Got to get more effective, though, getting that pressure and things like that. And then you got Smile Munden, who's another great player. He will be more of the Zach Bond type of player if he played. And then you know who we got. The number one pick that we got from this past season, which is Hattie. And I like Hattie. I think with experience, he's going to get better. But it's the running, when it comes to the run game with him, he's not Nakobe Dean, bro. And I need him to be Nakobe Dean. So, not Nakobe Dean, but just just getting better with stopping and running, things like that. He's a rookie going into his second year, so I'm not trying to harp on it or nothing like that. As time goes on, he'll learn, he'll adapt. And he's a number one draft pick. I'm expecting big things from him. So if they do decide to move on from Nakobe Dean, I do appreciate Nakobe Dean and his time here. Because like I said, we can't keep everybody, man. But Nakobe Dean has been injury prone too, is another thing, which is kind of hard. Like you think about the impact that he has when he's on the field, but it's like then you get hurt and then you're gone for like half the season. And it's like we're paying you all this money. Is that really something that the Philadelphia Eagles want to take a chance on? Usually they don't. So I know as much as they might have, like Nakobe Dean, I do think this might be his last year with the team. Like I said, anything's possible, but I don't see them getting that deal done. Especially like I said, when you got Jahad Campbell, you got Zach Bond under contract, you got Smile Munden, you got Trotter. So you got some guys there. Maybe they pick up another linebacker in the draft if they move on from Nakobe Dean, just for like depth purposes, whatever the case may be. But like I said, I like Smile Munden and I like Trotter too as well. So, and I think another thing that a lot of people, and I've talked about this, we can't go out and get every great player, and every great player is not going to be ready to play. You still got to have that developmental process when it comes to drafting players, and even when the players in the league for a little bit. Because look at Jordan Davis, he's just starting to pop off. He started popping off during last season, but he just started to pop off. So it takes time for some of these players, man. Everybody's not a Cooper DeGino or Quinyon Mitchell when they come into the league. So giving these players some time and some grace. But I do think linebacker is going to be another need in the NFL draft. So, and then we get back to the next one, which I would think would be cornerback and safety. Starting with that safety position, we do got Andrew Makumba, but then you got Reed Blankenship that's up for a contract. When they asked Howie Roseman about Reed, I don't know if Reed going to be here, man. I think they move on from Reed. I appreciate Reed and things like that, but I feel like Reed was a product of his environment, I want to say. Me personally, like I said, I don't think he's a bad player, but I just think they could do a little bit better there, showing up that part of the defense. I hope he, and he's another player that's linked to Dallas. So him and Nakobe Dean are both linked to Dallas, with CP. But I do think overall, right, safety, they have to either draft somebody or go out here and get somebody in free agency, because no disrespect, but Andrew Makumba, we don't know exactly what he is yet. He is a smaller safety too as well, which I'm not particularly fond of. I do think he's a great player though, from what I've seen so far. Able to impact the game when he's understanding what's going on. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, but a great player when he understands what's going on. I think overall though, they do need to go out there, get CJ. I did see he was talking to Rondo online, one of his streams or something like that. He said he'd be down to come back to the Philadelphia Eagles. And every time CJ Garner's on this team, man, we go to the freaking Super Bowl. So maybe that's something that they want to, maybe they want to just, test that out for a third time. But it is what it is. But like I said, if they don't bring him back, they do have to go out here and go find a safety. Like I said, either trade for somebody or whatever the case may be, draft. And then the cornerback situation, they did talk about bringing Adoree Jackson back. Now, I ain't gonna say I'm 50-50 on this. Adoree did start playing better. I ain't gonna say like he was out here shutting shit down, but he did start playing better toward the end of the season. All right. Like I said before, it takes time for players to pick up certain schemes or whatever the case may be to have that effectiveness. With that still being said, I'm going into the draft and I'm finding that cornerback, bro. I'm not. No disrespect. I'm finding the cornerback. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe death-wise with Keely Ringo. What's the other boy? Now, Mac McWilliams, maybe. Mac McWilliams. I feel like Mac might have some type of so I'm gonna say Mac played cornerback and nickel in college, some nickel position, or was it safety? I gotta look that up. But he played like two positions, not consistently, but I want to say he played like cornerback. Was it cornerback and nickel? It had to be. I want to say it was cornerback and nickel. But getting Mac McWilliams a little bit more accustomed to be on the outside there. If the coaches feel like he can do that on a consistent basis, because like I said, you got to get these players reps too, man. You can't just keep them, on the special teams and bring them in here and there because it's just not going to work. So they got to solidify that cornerback 2 position. Like I said, either draft, because that's another position that gets paid a lot. I said they got Cooper and Quinyon coming up for contracts. Excuse me. Coming up or due for a contract, excuse me. And they got to figure out, how to lessen the blow. So if they can draft a cornerback, I know you might not get a Quinyon or a Cooper DeJean, but something that can, just help us on the outside. I think that'll be fitting. So that's another position. You already know. What's up, bro? What's going on, man? And then I did talk about the wide receiver. But like I said, wide receiver, if AJ Brown gets moved, man, I don't think he's going anywhere. If they have, and this is something else we didn't really talk about too, right? Johnny Wilson is still here, right? And him being, and I know he's a wide receiver, but the Bulls succeed. Why don't you just, you know what I'm saying? Just convert him to a tight end, unless they feel like he can really go out there and be wide receiver 3. Because people kept saying like Cooper, which I ain't got no problem with Cooper being wide receiver 3. But at the same time, you still got Johnny Wilson, who is a better blocker. I feel like hands ain't there though sometimes, man. You gotta get a little bit more accustomed to that. But I do feel like if Johnny Wilson is up to it, I do feel that he could possibly be a good tight end. Or try him out. You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't played tight end no wide receiver. I couldn't tell you, but we'll see. But if they don't do that, then they need to go get a tight end in the draft. I felt like they should have went out here this past season. Harold Fanning Jr., I keep saying, who's the Livingston, Colston Loveson, whatever buddy name was. Another player that did well this past season. But there was a couple of tight ends this past draft that I felt like they could have, brought to the team and had them learn under Dallas Goedert. Now, Dallas Goedert's agent didn't, I don't know if they had it yet, but they're going to be discussing his contract upcoming this year for the NFL. For the Philadelphia Eagles. And I want to keep him, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Like, I want to keep everybody, but you can't keep everybody. But I really do want to keep Dallas Goedert because I do feel like he's very effective. Like, when it comes to this offense, and then in the offense, the scheme that you're bringing in caters to tight ends. So I won't say caters, but it gets the tight ends involved for the most part. So we'll see, man. I don't know, but I do think they have to go out this draft, man. They can't wait another season. And you go out here and you go get another tight end, have him learn under Dallas Goedert. If you decide to keep Dallas, got maybe another year. I don't know what the money's looking like for him, but keep him another year or two, and then you move on with the rookie or the second year player, and then go from there. So that's usually how the Philadelphia Eagles do it. That's why I thought they were going to go out here this past season and get a tight end, but they had other plans, and it is what it is. So, my fault. And then also with the free agency coming up, right? Howie did speak about this a little bit, where he said he wasn't really trying to make no big splashes, as you know, and I talked about this multiple times on here. Players got to get paid, man. So, playing more or less of a chess game. Can't like I said, you can't go out here and get everybody, bring them to the team, because sooner or later you got to get paid. So figure out who we pay first. But I don't think free agency we make any big splashes. Maybe, you never know though, man, because we do have some draft picks, the compensatory picks, and just the regular draft picks. And you never know, man. Like I said, Howie Roseman was always working the phones. Shout out to the Raiders GM. I don't know what he named, but he was like, man, that's one guy you don't want to take a phone call from. But and not in a bad way, because he said he was his mentor and things like that. But Howie a dog, man. That's what you want on your team. So he want to make sure that he's, and I can appreciate that. He wants to make sure that he has the best talent on his team at all times. So got to give it up to Howie Roseman for being the guy to bring. Think about it, AJ Brown. Like, think about the players we got on this team, dog, and who we drafted. AJ Brown, you get Jalen Hurts, you get Devontae Smith. I know the offensive line ain't cooked this year, but just the offensive line players all the way down, dog. So when they're healthy though. So, but yeah, man, so many. I didn't even get to the defense, but just think about just the players that we got, bro. And you think about back in the day when we had McNabb and Todd Stinkston and Freddie Mitchell and all those guys, bro. These players don't even. No disrespect to them, but night and day, man. No disrespect, but it's all love. But my thing is, Howie Roseman is that type of GM where he's gonna go out here, he's gonna scorch the earth and figure out what he can find. He's gonna lift every rock, whatever the case may be, to figure out who is available and who's not. And I said he's going to use, because see, I think, no disrespect, like I said this before and earlier in the video, I feel like Howie Roseman is just gauging the market when they talk about, because I seen somewhere where it said Diana Rossini said that his agent is going around and talking to different teams, which I don't know if that to be true or not, because Shorty has said a lot of stuff that has not been true. So I think you use that information to gauge the market. I don't think you trade AJ Brown. And I said this before, Howie Roseman already shut all that down. So like I said, shout out to AJ, but I don't think he's going nowhere. But I do think Howie uses that information to figure out who he can get. Because I know teams are probably calling for AJ Brown, which I'm for sure, but Howie might ask him a question where he might get the right answer to, the right player. You feel me? Now, I'm not saying they trade AJ Brown, but like I said, they package up a second, third round pick and send Keely Ringo or somebody over there, you know what I mean, to help them out. And they go from there. So, like I said, I expect AJ Brown to be on this team. I really don't see it going no other way, man. Honestly, I really don't. Never heard the man say he wanted to be traded. He always talked about he wanted to be a Philadelphia Eagle until he retired. He came here to play with his best friend, one of his brothers, and Jalen Hurts. Him and Devontae Smith have a great relationship. Even Devontae Smith, when they ask that question, you always hear Devontae Smith. He ain't going nowhere. He just trolling. So it's like, to me, and I understand it. I'm young enough. I feel like I can understand the trolling area. But my thing is, it's just something to get the people talking. As you know, 23 season, was it the 23 season when AJ Brown called up the WIP and they asked him, why y'all be doing what y'all be doing? I don't know why, but they still doing what they be doing, AJ. So it is what it is. But you can't listen to those types of outlets. This is why you come here and you listen to me, or anybody else that does podcasts. I'm not the only Eagles podcaster. Shout out to my Eagles podcasters. No beef. You already know. But this is why y'all come here and y'all listen to us on the podcast, because you're going to get the real. I'm not in the trenches or nothing like that, but I think I'm pretty smart enough to decipher when it's some BS. And I know somebody got a contract that got a cap hit that we're not trying to take. You know what I'm saying? They've done that before, but I feel like that situation was a lot different with Carson Wentz. I don't see them getting rid of AJ Brown. Like, I've even heard AJ Brown say, what was that? One of the interviews where he was like, they better pay Jalen Hurts because if they ship him off, you might as well package me up and ship me off with him. That's how deep they are. So come on, man. Like, people got problems. We're human. We got issues, offensive issues. Hopefully not no more. But that's all AJ Brown was alluding to, man. This is a very small window. This is a very small window for an athlete, man. Especially in the NFL. I think the last time I checked, like 4 to 6 years, if you were able to even play. You know what I'm saying? You got to make the best of it. So, and shout out. Oh, I should have started this off too, man. Should have started this off. The young man that just passed away. I'm gonna give my condolences to him and his family too as well. Don't want to get into that, but it's a sad situation. That's why I try to temper how I talk about these players, because you never know what somebody's going through, man. The young man was only 25 years old. I think I don't want to spread no false narrative. I don't even want to say that part. But young man is not here no more. Pretty much was going through some, I guess, a situation. I don't know if it was pertaining to the NFL, whatever the case may be. But a lot of players, man, that were, you got to think, you're good in college, right? You might be that guy in college. When you get to the NFL, you might not be that guy, because now everybody's that guy. You're going against players that have been here for a little bit. You're going against, like I said earlier, there are players that come out the NFL draft that are ready to play, and there are other players that come out, not to say they're not ready to play, but depending on what team you go to, how they utilize you and things like that, you might not have that same effect, and that might get to you as a player. That's why I was so harping on that AJ Brown situation, because I don't know what AJ Brown go through and things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not none of my business, but I don't try to get on here and be trying to dehumanize people, or whatever the case may be, because they're humans. Yeah, they got more money than I got, but they got the same problems I got. You can't outrun the problems in life. So, with that being said, I just try to be a little bit, just disrespectful in that part when it comes to the players. So shout out to him and his family, even Kyron Lacey's family. It's just so many different situations, losing players in the NFL, or just losing anybody. So when it comes to situations like that. But listen, man, I don't know how y'all feel, man, but keep God first, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Keep God first at all times, because whatever you going through, it ain't bigger than what He putting you through. So, yeah, man, or whatever you believe in, but yeah, keep God in your life, man, for real. Stay close to Him. But I got all the way off topic. Actually, I didn't get off topic. That's a great topic, but yeah, man, just like I said, overall, Philadelphia Eagles, they got this. This is a big season coming up for them, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You're implementing a new offense with new coaches. Even with the Jeff Stoutland situation, him not being here no more. They say he's gonna pop in and out the building, but I don't take that as the man not here. I take it as him not being here. He brought in a new coach to do his position, so he's not. I'm not looking at him like that no more. You feel what I'm saying? So they done made all these different changes under Nick Sirianni. And that's why I'm sitting there saying I feel like he's going to be on the hot seat as per usual. I mean, that ain't nothing, but we're going to be on the hot seat, man. And if this offense works out, then it's going to be a different topic that we're talking about. Because how do you move on? Now you done switch the whole offensive scheme, right? And then you let the brain out the building to go become a head coach somewhere else. I don't think they do that. I think Nick Sirianni understands that. So we're going to see, man. Also, the AJ Brown situation, we can dead that too, man. I don't think Buddy's going nowhere. I keep trying to tell y'all that, but maybe you need to hear from Howie Roseman, which he said yesterday, whatever the case may be. The draft coming up, I will probably have. I don't know if I'll go live or if I'll make a video for that, because I haven't made a video in a long time. I've just been going live since my girl got me this little webcam and all that, so it's a little bit easier for me. But I'll probably make a video, or maybe we can go live. I could do both, whatever the case may be. Get some of y'all thoughts and where we should be going in the NFL draft. Like I said, I did just read them off. I'll just go through it right quick one more time. The top priorities for the NFL draft I do have here is offensive line, as always. Defensive line with the edge, linebacker, secondary, the cornerback, and the safety. And then, like I said, if AJ Brown's not here anymore, then the wide receiver as well. But I don't see that happening. That's why I got it last. But um, free agency, like I said, they're probably not gonna go too crazy. Like I said, we have players that we got to sign, man. We got to put that print in their pocket first before we think we can bring somebody of talent in here and then be able to pay them as well. So I do think they got to go in the draft and fill. And they have been drafting well too, which is something that we ain't talked about. Last like 3, 4, 5 seasons, the Eagles been drafting really, really well. I know last season wasn't the best. Andrew Makumba ended up getting hurt and things like that, but Jahad Campbell played well, but he ended up, not that he did anything wrong, but then Kobe Dean came back. So, but he was playing well before he did, become, the backup to Kobe Dean. And, but like I said, I think overall that they've been drafting really well. I think that's what they're going to have to continue to do, though, to keep this team in that Super Bowl window. I know people were sitting here talking about, oh, your window's over, this, that, and the third. I'm like, who said our window? Who said our window was done? Oh, yeah, I didn't go back to back. I mean, it's hard to go back to back, man. And then also we had some incompetence offensively for the reason why we didn't go back to back. So it is what it is. But I do think this Super Bowl window is still open, man. We still got a young team. AJ Brown is getting a little older. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But got a young team, man. Got a team full with dogs too. So I know they're going, take heed to this offense. Defense, I'm never ever worried about. As long as Vic Fangio is here, and that's going to be another topic we probably going to talk about because, as y'all know, if you don't know, he was talking about retiring this past season. So I don't know if that's because of what he's seen this past year. They said he was thinking about retiring after the Super Bowl, which could be possible. But I feel like as long as we got Vic Fangio, we're gonna be good to go. Excuse me. If he does retire, they did talk about bringing in Jim Schwartz as the successor. I guess that's cool. But then I also think about Clint Hurt, man. Clint Hurt has been a great offensive line coach for us for these past 2 seasons. I feel like he's the one that brought that dog out of Jordan Davis, man. If you got to watch the Hard Knocks, you hear how he talked to him, calling him a big ass teddy bear and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get up under that skin a little bit. See if you got that in you. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they make him the DC if Vic Fangio does decide to retire later on next season. I don't know, but just a couple of options I'll just throw out there. We still got him, so I'm not going to trip off that. But if he's deciding to move on, and retire, then we do need to have his successor because it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to do what Vic Fangio just did. So Jim Schwartz or Clint Hurt or whoever else they feel like they want to bring up in here, but it's going to be kind of hard. So, but yeah, man. What else I got here? Before I get up out of here, no. I might put this in the other video. Yeah, because that'd be more like draft talk. Man, I guess. I don't think they're gonna go out here and get any of these people. But you got Mike Evans. He might be up for a contract, or he's a free agent. My fault. Possibly, he ain't linked to the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles want to pay him or anything like that. But I just had a couple of players here that I'm like, could possibly do something. So I'm making an effect if things get a little weary, in the water, murky in the water. So, but like I said, man, overall, I'm just hoping to see, and like I said, this is where we're at right now. We're at the NFL draft. Got to see combine starts tomorrow or today. I think the combine starts today. Like I said, man, we got somebody from the hometown. Shout out to Rasul, going to be participating with the running backs. And I'm gonna be watching that, man, because I just want to see. Like, I don't get to watch all the college games. Like I do try to watch the bigger games now since I've been doing a podcast on Saturdays or whenever the games come on, the bowl games, whatever it is. I try to get, because all I gotta do is see a few games of the player, and I'm like, all right, he, what I'm saying, he might be okay, or he ain't it. So I think with the draft video I'm gonna have coming up, I'm gonna have to watch this combine like I usually do, but watch this combine, especially for the offensive line, because I feel like that's going to be a big need with the depth there. And cornerback too. I want to see like what corners they got. I know people keep talking about is it from Texas? Is he from the Texas? Is it from the Texas? I can't think of what he name right now, but if y'all know, throw it in the chat. But one of the I can't think of he either played for Texas or Alabama. I can't think of his name, but good cornerback. They was talking about look him up, um, and then somebody else. So I got a couple of players that I do need to do some research on. I also got the what you call it PFF. So we'll go through that. We'll do the mock draft. I'll throw it up here and you can see who I drafted and things like that. And I'll tell you why I drafted him and where I drafted him, why, why at that area. So, but yeah, man, just stay tuned. Got some things coming up. I do got to get with Mr. Reggie, and get a Mean Green podcast going on. So I know it's the off season. It's been kind of slow. It's been kind of repetitive. They've been talking about the same things. That's why I really don't be on here like that. I don't want to. I don't want to get on here and keep saying, "Oh, AJ Brown might get traded." Oh, the following week, oh, AJ Brown's not getting traded. Oh, this week, oh, Nick Sirianni said something that now alludes to AJ Brown getting traded. Like I don't want to keep doing it. You feel what I'm saying? Because it just gets repetitive. I know y'all don't want to hear that because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to keep hearing, speculation. I want cold hard facts. You feel me? Cold hard facts. So, like I said, man, it is what it is. We just gotta. Like I said, right now we're at the draft situation. We're trying to see, what players we like. I think March is around the corner. That starts next week. Let's look this up real quick when free agency starts. I want to say it's like the 3rd or 6th. My fault, y'all. I hate when they do these updates, bro. Hold up. Every time they update my Google, they give me a Yahoo joint. I don't know why I use Yahoo to search for nothing, man. The hell? All right, let's see real quick. Okay, so all right, so it starts Monday at noon, March 9th, 2026. So that's when free agency begins. You'll start to see what players are available, see what players, the Eagles end up taking, and then you get the draft in April. So so we got some things, man, to look forward to. The videos probably will start ramping up because I'll try to get either live or make a quick video if they do, not draft somebody, but sign somebody first in free agency that's worth saying. I mean, I guess they're all worth saying, but if they sign somebody big, I'm definitely going to be on here, giving you the breakdown of what I like or what I don't like about it, and then you got the draft too after that, and then we just go from there, man. So with all that, just like I said, man, just keep paying attention to what's going on. Like I said, I don't think the AJ Brown situation is a real thing. I don't think he's going anywhere or anything like that. But you just got to monitor everything because, I mean, in a way, Nick Sirianni is right, man. You just never know. So, but I think that's more or less in his case. I think AJ Brown knows because he's under contract. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. But if you really like what you heard here today, please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe. I'm gonna try to get on here tomorrow. Talk to y'all. Maybe see if Mr. Reggie want to do a Mean Green podcast this weekend. I should have some time, so we can get that out the way. Trying to think if there's anything else we got coming up. I don't think so, man. Like I said, just stay tuned. Like I said, I do apologize for not making as many videos, but like I said, a lot of the information that's coming out is repetitive. Like I said, AJ Brown trade situation, players linked to the team, Max Crosby. We know we're not getting him. We're not about to get Max. I don't think he even going anywhere. So he might as well just pipe all that down. So if you're under contract, it's gonna be very hard to move. That's why I said with the AJ Brown situation, it's hard to move that, man. Even if he did want to leave, you can't. That's hard to move. So not to say you can't, but it's hard to move. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm glad I said that. Tanner McKee, right? Has been rumored to be linked to the New York Jets, which I cannot believe that, but and not in a bad way, but like I don't want to send my backup QB to a place where QBs and players go to die. The Jets have only been good, I would say, maybe 1 or 2 years out of my whole lifetime, and I'm 33 years old. When he had Sanchez. Was it Sanchez? The quarterback? whatever, buddy. Mark Sanchez, yeah. Now you out here doing all types of crazy. I don't know what's up with buddy, but yeah, when they had Mark Sanchez and what was my man name that used to coach the Philadelphia Eagles? Oh my God. Oh my God. Rex Ryan. Was it Rex? They had Rex Ryan. So yeah, that was the only time they were good. But long story short, it's been speculation that the GM or the owner, one of the two, they said once they want to bring in a lesser caliber. I don't say a lesser caliber, but not get too crazy with the quarterback situation. So they were talking about Davis Mills and then Tanner McKee. Now Tanner McKee, I'm not gonna lie, like Tanner, but we can't keep him. So if we wait until next year, he can walk freely. But if you do trade him this year, you can at least get something for him. I do think Tanner McKee was a third or fourth round pick in 23's draft. I said back then I thought he was a really good quarterback. I do think, and I think this is for all positions, but especially the quarterback position, it's the talent. The talent might somewhat be there, but you also got to have the mental part to it. And I don't think a lot of quarterbacks are like developed the way they need to be. And I've heard Tom Brady and other old school QBs, allude to this because they want everything fast. Like teams want to get a quarterback, want to start winning right away, and it don't work like that. You got to give it time. You got to explain things to them. You got to figure out if this is the right scheme to even be running with this quarterback. So many different things that go into it. So, but overall, he was talking about maybe trading Tanner McKee to the Jets. Now, I don't want to see Tanner McKee go to the Jets, because he might have success. I don't know. But my thing is this. The track record don't show that. So, but with that also being said, if we can get something for Tanner McKee, and that's either the Jets or if they trade him somewhere else, I'm cool with that because you got it's Kyle McCord still here, right? Or is it Sam Howell? I want to say Sam Howell. Okay, so I think Sam Howell's still here. Sam Howell, I like, you know what I'm saying? He's an NFL quarterback. He started for a season or two or something like that with the Redskins or the Commanders, excuse me. But they probably will maybe look if they do move on from Tanner McKee, they're going to have to look at getting a quarterback. Now I know they were trying to spin this narrative earlier a couple weeks ago where they were like, "Oh, if Howie Roseman drafts a quarterback in the first 2-3 rounds," which I mean I understand, that's a slap in the face to Jalen Hurts. I don't feel like they're going to do that, but I do think they have to. You got to go get a quarterback if you end up trading Tanner McKee. And Sam Howell's cool, but my thing is this, he might end up getting, man, this dude crazy. this dude crazy, but he said he telling. But nah, man. Yeah, bro, come on. What did we call him when we was coming up? No disrespect, you know what I'm saying? We was calling them the Redskins. So they talking about they want the name back. So, I ain't trying to be disrespectful, disrespect nobody. It's all love, about to get me canceled on this joint, bro. You know what I mean? So, but man, I lost my train of thought talking to him. What was I saying? Oh, Tanner McKee, yeah, my fault. But Tanner McKee, yeah, I do think if we can get something for him, man, I'm cool with that. I think he will thrive in the offense, that's built around him. Give it some time and you don't want to get them stirred up today, D. You don't want to get the Commanders fans stirred up. I got into it with a Commanders fan the other day. They saying trying to tell me something like we was in the NFC Championship. So were we, and we beat y'all. Like we talking about. You feel me? So it is what it is, man. But if we can get something for Tanner McKee, man, I'll take it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'll take it. I will wish him well. But if there's something that we can, get a draft pick and help, build around this team, I'm all for it, man. And then, like I said, they probably will end up drafting somebody in the later rounds at quarterback. I would suppose. I guess if you got somebody there in the earlier round, you might be able to take them. If they feel like they need it. But Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of this team, man. I don't never question that. So, but like I said, Tanner McKee moves on, man. I'll take a draft pick for him or a draft pick in the player because a lot of teams do need quarterbacks. That is a very hard position to come by or come across. And if you can get it with Tanner McKee, by all means, send that draft pick in that player, whatever the case is. So, so it is what it is. But I want to say that's everything that I did have for today. No, I've been over about an hour now, so I don't know if y'all got anything else that y'all wanted to talk about or discuss. If you do like what you hear, please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe. I know I do these videos so randomly, man, but like I said, I don't want to get on here and keep saying the same things over and over to you. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to talk about too. One more thing, and I can't remember what it was. Talked about the edge. I can't think about what it was, man. I can't even think about what it was. But like I said, if I got anything else, drop it in the comments. We can talk about it right quick. What you saying about old line coach? Which one you talking about? I can't even say Buddy's new name. I know you're talking about Jeff Stoutland, though, are you? You talking about somebody else? Yeah, they all knew, bro. He knew. You got the offensive line coaches knew, the OCs knew, the pass game coordinators knew. They did upgrade Parks Frazier to quarterbacks QB's coach, I want to say. So that's what he's going to be doing right there. Who else? Somebody else on the offense, or is that the defense they brought him in on? Might be somebody else on the defense. So we do got a lot of coaching turnover on that offensive side, but we had to because you implement this new offense, and none of the coaches that we had before really knew how to run that. So, more throwing the ball. Yeah, come on, bro. What you mean? Ain't you a 49ers fan? What y'all be doing? We finna do the same thing y'all be doing. About to run Saquon like they run Christian McCaffrey to a wall, boy. Kyle Shanahan like just give it to Kyle. I mean, give it to Christian. You know what I'm saying? Give it to Christian. Let him run into a wall, man. That boy he be getting it. He getting it, bull. So, but yeah, we trying to pass the ball more, man. We trying to, and I don't know why people think Jalen Hurts can't pass the ball. It's crazy to me, but y'all really about to see something. I was arguing with somebody else in the comments. You know what I'm saying? That's my new thing. Like maybe I'm a troll. I don't know. But I just be trying, just keep it factual in the comments because I feel like people be just lying. Like, so I do think you see this offense per se with these players, man. If this get the clucking, if this get the clicking, I'm telling y'all, look at Puka Nacua this year. Think about Puka Nacua this year. Think about the years when Kyle Shanahan had IU and Debo, excuse me. And then what was the other boy they had? He had somebody else used to fill in for that third. Bro, you should see how that offense would eat, how they utilize those players. And that was a key thing that I always talked about with Nick Sirianni's offense. It is like an iPhone. It don't do nothing but call and text and get on the internet. At least the Android, you know what I'm saying? You can go up in that joint, do a little something, throw that on here, throw this on here without having no problems. It's more creativity with that phone. Same thing I talked about with this offense. You need creativity. Because the simpler your scheme is, the easier it is for defenses to figure it out. It's just point blank period. This is nothing new. And I feel like I said this earlier in the video that Nick Sirianni was relying more on the talent of the players than his actual scheme, which I can understand because he's not really an X's and O's guy. He's more of I need good players to run this basics, or not a basic scheme, but my scheme. So, like I said, overall, it worked for a little bit, but they catch on. They catch on. Everybody's assessing all the plays you run, the types of routes you run, spamming the hitch right all crazy. Everybody sees it just like the fans see it. So if you don't know how to throw no tendencies off of that, y'all don't know how to sequence plays the way they need to be sequenced. You're probably gonna see more play action with this new offense. So a lot of deep passes and things like that. Do I think? And I'm gonna say this right now. If Jalen Hurts, and I'm not excusing him for throwing interceptions crazily, but if his interceptions go up a little bit, I can understand because it's a new offense being implemented. But I don't really think that's going to be a thing. As long as they understand what they need to do out there on the field offensively, I don't see that, man. So it's going to take some time, though. So I know preseason is going to be something I'm definitely going to be watching. I know the players don't play in preseason, but I don't know. I don't know. I ain't going to lie to you. This might be one of them seasons where you need to break that cycle because you want to make sure, not the first game, you want to make sure that when you go into the preseason, even if it's for it can do it for because I ain't going wait. They usually play the whole game, or at least the first half, but that's them. my thing is this: they got to come out here at least do a couple of series with Sean Mannion calling the plays because you want to see like, all right, okay, this is working, that's working. Okay, this ain't working when we run this. Oh, this ain't working when we run this. We need to hit this harder in practice, or we need to do this, whatever the case may be, adjust this way. So I do hope that they do try and have these players play in the preseason. I'm talking about the starters. Um, so we'll see, man. We'll see. But like I said, I think they're going to thrive in this offense, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Not going to lie. Did I have it up here? Did I talk about? I don't think I even talked about that. Did I? Yeah, we can talk about this right quick. My fault. Hold up. Because I had it written. Well, I got it written down here. So it says what we know so far, that Sean Mannion, this is about Sean Mannion's offense, right? This is what we know so far. This is from ChatGPT. I ain't gonna lie to you. I typed this in right quick before I got up on here. It says built around core playmakers, AJ, of course, Hurts, Saquon. And they also talked about how Howie Roseman said AJ Brown is going to be a huge part of Sean Mannion's vision, which I can understand that because of this past year where you heard AJ Brown come out, week 3, 4, from whatever the case may be, and say that the offense needs to adjust, we need to get better. So of course he's going to be a big key proponent in this offense. That's why I said, look at Puka Nacua this year. Look at when Kyle Shanahan has, and he don't even. What was it? D who was it? Jennings D? Is it Jennings? Jennings was snapping. So it's like if you can scheme these players open and get these guys open. No disrespect to Jennings, but AJ Brown is a way better wide receiver. No disrespect. But that's AJ Brown. You feel what I'm saying? Even Devontae Smith, Slim Reaper gonna go out here. He should be able to eat. So we're gonna see, man. But like I said, fresh system, new identity. Eagles went in a completely new direction going into 2025. Going into 2026 after the 2025 struggles. We did talk about Nick talked about this, about heavy collaboration, but Sean Mannion is in control. You know how I feel about that. Every year and I know he's the head coach and he should have some say, but I feel like at this point, Nick, you don't know nothing about this offense. Like, I'm not saying he's not studying it now, but let my man cook. Like, yeah, you need to know, do your studying and things like that. But let my man Sean Mannion cook, man. Straight up. Don't put your hands on this, but we'll see. So what we should be able to expect from this offense, it should be a motion-heavy offense. We haven't really seen that. Like I said before earlier, you only ever get Smitty or somebody in motion across the field to see if we're in man or zone, which is crazy. Yards after the catch opportunities, should be trying to score some more touchdowns, or at least get more yards after the catch. QB-friendly reads, it should be some easy layups for Jalen Hurts. Not to say that he needs them, but, sometimes your player needs it to get them going, man. And then play action focus, something that we don't really, lean too crazy on, but I think that's something we do with the players that we do have. Because it just seems like, and I'm not going to lie to you, it just would seem like I'm watching like it'd be anybody the Eagles playing. I'm like, bro, how is the other team getting to the other side of the field that fast? Like, it just always would blow my mind, even with how good the defense is that we had. Like, yeah, you would stop them and things like that, but they will get to their end zone so fast in like 4 to 5 plays. It's like, why can't we do that? Even with bad positioning, we couldn't even get. It was hard for us to even get to the 50. So, a lot of 3 and outs and things like that. I hope that's something that they cut back on, and then penalties as well. But a lot of that stuff you kind of got to expect now with them implementing the new offense. Not that I'm saying they should be on there just committing penalties, but be disciplined. But things are going to happen. They're learning a new offense, new coach. Probably, I don't know what the terminology is going to be. Nick said the terminology would probably stay somewhat the same. He said the coaches will probably have to learn the terminology and implement that. But he's sitting here talking about the 3x1 set, and this is why. This is no disrespect, but this is why they needed to bring in a new offense. Because if y'all remember from the speakeasy, what's buddy name? Acho he broke down a couple of the games. He was like, I am not even lying to you when I say this. They ran 3x1, then flipped it 3x1. And ran the same play, just flipped it 3x1. It was 3x1 most of the damn game. I was sitting there watching. I'm like, this is ridiculous, bro. You mean to tell me y'all can't do nothing else? Y'all can't run anything else. And then to think that's going to throw a defense off, an NFL defense off. What? What? That's why they said, man, we bringing in Sean Mannion and we switching this whole thing up. So it's a big risk, but it has a very high upside. So high to the point where I think he could become the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Because why would you want to let that brainiac out the building? Especially if he can be adaptive too. That's a lot of coaches' problem. That's a lot of people's problem. You got to be able to adapt. Like this ain't the old school. Like, yeah, some of that stuff in the old school might work. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Antonio, what's going on, player? I'm glad you called me, my boy. I almost got up off this joint. I got the rambling again, though, so you already know. I'm glad you made it, though, my boy. Hopefully everything's going well with you, man. But like I said, high upside, like I said, to the point where he could be the head coach. That's what I like to hear, my brother. It's like, excuse me, that's what I like to hear. So Manning is young. He has little experience. And like I said, he does have a lot of playing experience, not a lot of coaching experience. I think the coaching is like 2 years. So, but Eagle C is sharp and innovative. So, I mean, nah, bro, we ain't even So they was calling for 8 to 12, bro. We got like maybe a couple inches, if that, 2-3 inches is already melted outside. So, I thought it was going to be a bigger snowstorm than that. But they did say, though, I think my mom was just talking to my mom before I got on here. She said, I want to say this weekend, Friday into Saturday, or Saturday into Sunday, it's supposed to snow again. So it's man. It's some. I don't know. Mother Nature not playing this year, man. So let's spook my mom up. I'll call it back. You said, well, what? All right. Rematch out. Wait, what? Rematch. I don't know what the other one said here, but all right. But also too, man, I'm gonna talk to Mr. Reggie too. We're probably gonna do a Mean Green podcast probably this weekend. So if he's available, so be on the lookout for that. I'll put something up. But like I said, this Sean Mannion offense, man, like I said, it should get everybody involved. A big thing that I felt like this offense was lacking. Also with the play sequencing and things like that. You brought Josh Grizzard in here to help with the pass game and things like that with this new offense. A host of coaches. And I feel like, you can't just move on from that. You know what I mean? Like, they did with Jeff Stalin and all that this year, but you did that for a reason. You did that because you felt like the offense that y'all were already running just wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? So, and that was coming from your head coach. That's why I keep alluding to, like, if Sean Mannion has a good season, he's probably going to have head coaching, offers from other teams, but you might get a head coaching job offer from this team. So, sounds like everybody's excited about the new OC. Bro, I'm excited about anybody that's not running the Nick Sirianni scheme. All due respect. Because it's been too long. Like I was saying before you got on here, man, I felt like Nick Sirianni always leaned on having a talented team, which any coach needs. But then when it comes to the X's and O's, that's not his thing. That's not his thing. He just likes to be like, all right, I got dominant players. It's fourth down. I trust my player. That's all good and dandy, but if you can't scheme that player open for him to be able to have the best chance of catching the ball or winning the game, it will never be effective. So, and I think, no disrespect, but I think Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie seen that these last couple of seasons, and they were like, we're not doing this no more. We're not doing this no more because you got to think they're paying these players millions of dollars, right, to have a first-round exit. I don't think so. Nick said today that incorporating new scheme and old scheme, I was pissed. Bro, I said that earlier. I said it earlier. I said if it can go one or two ways. I mean, he could be sitting here saying it, but he never ran this offense before. Like, he don't, not to say he can't go read a book or go on the line and watch tape and, see what it entails. But my thing is, this is not his scheme. I put it to you like this. There is a reason why ain't none of these coaches are linked to Nick Sirianni. Like, don't nobody question that. There's a reason why Bob Cooter or Jim Cooter, whatever buddy name was, is not here as the OC. There's a reason why. What was the other bull name? They was trying to bring up in here. That was in relation to Nick being somewhere before. Because every time somebody or Nick deems that, somebody's good enough, they're never good enough. And then his success always is dictated on the OC. If the OC is not good, first round exit. Now, yeah, we're gonna keep making the playoffs because of the quality of players that we have collectively. But first round exit with this type of team is ridiculous. Even Howie Roseman spoke to that. Say he felt like they left meat on the bone in 2025. That's a clear indication to the coach. Because Howie did his job. He got you the players. He got everybody signed. That's an indication to the coach. And that's why I keep saying, like, everybody's like, oh, no. You think that, Sean Mannion, that. He ain't going to bring, head coach. And Sirianni took you to 2 Super Bowls, 2 NFC. That don't matter. Doug Peterson won us our first Super Bowl, and he don't even coach no more. He not even coaching. So, make no sense to me, man. The first drives were cool most of the time. The scripted plays were sometimes amazing. Then the rest of the game, terrible. Yo, but see, also, too, and what I said to him, or what I said earlier, scripted plays, absolutely, you're correct about that. Really, really good. But I also said this, too. Now, I went to the Tampa Bay game, right? I wasn't sitting that close, but, my phone, I got that Samsung S was a 24 or 25 with the 3 cameras on, so, I had to zoom in. And you can see Landon Dickerson, limping off the field. And mind you, this is about to be either this was going into this is the second quarter going into halftime, or he was coming off the field after halftime for the third quarter or something like that, right? And you can see him limping, right? And I always say that, I'm like, bro, they probably are juicing him up. Cam Jurgensen too, in the beginning of the game. That stuff's going to wear off by halftime. So then when you come out there halftime, you might have some really good plays. I'm not going to say, KP, some of his plays weren't good, but it was just, the effectiveness of the blocking and injuries and people missing, blocks and stuff like that. But I think that was pretty much the problem. So, and then they come out second half and they look like, I ain't going to say the word, but they look just crazy out there. But I think, I don't even know if you can. I guess you can implement them plays still because it's a different scheme. But I think they just want to do something completely different, man. I think they really want to just come in here, wipe the slate clean, try this out. This West Coast offense, I guess that's what they call it. They keep calling it Sean Mannion, but pro style, whatever they call it. But I think they just need to come out here, see if this works. Because honestly, I think this is the right scheme for Jalen Hurts and the wide receivers and players. Me personally, that's just me. People keep saying, Jalen Hurts don't throw across the middle. Well, I mean, does the scheme dictate him to throw across the middle? Because last time I checked, they were spamming the hitch route. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like people say things, and it's like I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say, man. Because I mean, he can't call all his plays. They sitting here calling the plays, and they spamming hitches and whatever the case may be. That's what he got to do. So it is what it is, man. But like I said, I do think this is going to be a good situation for us, man. I ain't going to lie to you because, see, we already got the defense. 49ers, see the 49ers are kind of like this. Of course, Kyle Shanahan, he's the play caller for the team. So he's going to, always have them in the best position. He knows his scheme better than anybody. But the big thing with them is, and it's not bad, but it's always the defensive side of the ball because not to say that they're bad, but they're kind of like us with the OC. They're always finding a new defensive coordinator. So, it is what it is. But I think like I said, I think if we get this offensive if we get this offense clucking, right? I don't think. Listen, I don't think we have any problems. I think we go right back to the Super Bowl. I hate to make that claim so early in the season. The season didn't even start, but I have so much faith in these guys, bro. I don't know what it is. I have so much faith in these guys when they go out there on a Sunday. But they just have to be in the right scheme, man. These dudes really like to play football. Jalen Hurts gets up Sunday morning, he probably ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And let it all loose. So I feel like with Nick Sirianni, he's just been kind of holding him back. And I know, Jalen wants to probably do some things, that he likes to do. But I think if you want to see this offense expand and be, the offense that we think it can be, He has to be totally balled in. He probably going to have to run the ball. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna lie, he's going to use them legs too as well in this offense, because that's another way they can throw this off. I mean, his defense is off. So yeah, man. But we will see. We will see. So what we got? 124. Oh, all right. So with that being said, man, listen, if y'all ain't got nothing else, I greatly appreciate everybody that got a chance to come through here, watch my video, come chill with me in the stream and things like that. I'm probably gonna go live maybe tomorrow, sometime this weekend. I'll talk to Mr. Reggie, see what he got going on, see what he's doing, and just go from there, man. But like I said, draft NFL Combine starts today. Um, Shout out to my boy Sewell, man. Hopefully he has a good combine. Um, I hope my boy. I know he gonna make the NFL, man. I know he gonna make the NFL. So shout out to you, my boy. Good luck. And we're gonna talk about the draft, man. You never know. Shoot, matter of fact, shoot, so you come to the Eagles, my boy. You ain't gotta leave the state, boy. You can be, you know what I'm saying? Come to the Eagles. So, but yeah, man, I'm gonna watch the combine, see what's good with that. But then we gotta get ready for free agency. This up next week. Is the week after? Week after I said the 9th. So 2 weeks free agency starts. See what players are available, and then that follows up with the draft in April. See what players we didn't, get out of free agency, whatever the case may be. See what our needs are at that point in time, and then move accordingly. So, like I said, with that being said, man, it's now Frazier, your host of the No Cut Sports Podcast. Like I said, really appreciate everybody that came through, showed love, dropped a like, subscribe, whatever the case may be. Once again, I'll probably be on sometime this week, maybe tomorrow, this weekend, and we'll go from there, man. Like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe. I'm your host now, Frazier, and I'm gonna holla at y'all. And then before we get out of here, man, you already know, go Birds, baby. I'm a holla. Y'all be safe, man.